Hi there guys, it's Essex Tom here from Team Resilience, and my job today is to walk you through the squat mechanics. I'm going to try and walk you through some variations on the squat as well, and then try and debunk some of the myths that you might have heard when performing a squat. So first things first, I'm just going to coach you through the squat like I would do if you're a client walking into the gym. So what I'd ask you to do is to imagine a clock face on the floor. I'd ask you to turn one foot out to 11 to 12 o'clock on one side, and then at 1 to 2 o'clock on the other side. Now traditionally I ask my clients to go about hip width apart or wherever they feel comfortable. Then from there, to keep it nice and simple, I simply ask my clients to imagine that they're sitting back onto a chair or the toilet seat. So by doing that, what we're encouraging them to do is push their hips back first and then let the knees follow. So traditionally I sit back onto that seat, hips go back first, knees drive back first, and then we stand up. Now, I kind of traditionally just preference like to have my hands out to counterbalance myself unless I'm holding a weight or a different object. And I just find that allows me to keep the weight going through that mid-level of my foot quite nicely. So I'll just perform a couple for you now. Now, that's not to say that this form of squat is the most optimal. Now, that's mostly what we call a kind of traditional squat, but there's tons of different variations out there, and it's not to say that one's better than the other. It's most probably that one has a predominance over the other for working a different muscle group, or more effective at working a different muscle group than the other. So, traditionally you've heard most probably that when the knees come over the toes during a squat, that's bad. Now, it's not bad. Essentially, when knees come over the toes, if your knees can tolerate it, that is, there is more quad activation. So if you look at some high level squatters, so your Olympic lifters and your power lifters, sometimes you'll see that a lot of them, when they squat down to that bottom position of a squat, because they need that kind of range, their knees are over the toes. Now, when they go to engage up out of the floor by just pushing through the floor, they quite often leave the knees over the toes, especially in Olympic weightlifting, because that employs more quad and means they can drive out of a hole more effectively. Now, obviously, if that movement into that position there is aggravating to the knee, then we can swap it up. You might find that having a box behind you to cue yourself, pushing back into that position and loading the hips more, takes that pressure off that knee. And the vice versa. You might find that you've got a slight hip injury, and that pushing back into that position is causing that hip to become more aggravated. In that case, you can swap it up, maybe trying a more narrow stance, even onto your toes slightly, trying to really push your knees over your toes to employ as much quad as you can, down to this position here, then back up, down to this position here, and then back up. If that's too hard, you could hold on to something. You could do it in a smaller range. Basically what we're trying to say is that any squat is better than no squat. And what you have to do is find a squat mechanics that essentially works for you and whatever muscle group you're using. I recommend a good place to start is that kind of traditional squat mechanics that you saw when we do at the start. But if you're trying to maybe target the quads more or target the glutes more, you need to find the different variation that works for you. It also comes down to when you're managing an injury. If your knee hurts, try and find that variation that maybe works the hip more, and if your hips hurt, maybe try and find that variation that pushes you more into your quads and your knees. It's important we just find that variation that works for you. So I hope that video helped, and I hope it kind of broke down just some of that misconception that quite often you see kind of floating around kind of online and in the gyms. And if you've got any questions, kind of happy to answer anything if you just post it in the comments below. And if you've got any maybe kind of technique pointers for people, just again, put them in the comments below. Have a great day guys, and we'll see you on the other side.